I
Hey,
automatically say yes. So
I appreciate that, man. I was honored to get the invite. It's been a fun journey along with Big Jack and just, seeing how everything's grown. And it's just been a cool ride. So I'm excited to be here, man. Excited to be a part of your thing, man, part of your journey.
I thank you for being here, man, for real.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so this is gonna be a little bit different than what we usually do. We're gonna have a young artist who doesn't have anything officially out yet, but has been making waves in the music industry, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the history of music, especially it being the last day of Black History Month and last day of
Yep.
February. We gonna drop some gems on some people, so because there's a lot of things happening out here right now, especially in the music industry, and I want to just touch on it just a little bit. So,
Absolutely. I love that. I love
but,
that.
but before we get into all the history stuff and all that stuff, we're gonna bring up our guests. Our guest today is someone I know very well. Uh, we have worked together for a couple years, and we've known each other for very much longer than that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest, Smoochie B Trippin'.
Heck yeah.
What up? What up? What
Yeah, yeah,
up?
yeah,
What's
yeah,
good?
yeah.
How is
Shout out to you,
everybody?
man.
How
Yeah.
are y'all?
Outstanding, man. Good to meet you. Good to have you here, man. Good to
It's
see you.
nice to meet you all as well.
Thank you.
My bad, I'm gonna fix this up.
Oh, you.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Smoochie,
Yes, sir.
my boy, what's going on?
Nothing much. Just living life one day at a time. Just trying to make it in this industry, make it in life, and that's about it. That's all I can do right now.
So before we get into the nitty gritty of things, we gotta understand who the man is. So who is Smoochie B Trippin'?
There you go.
Okay, so Smoochie be tripping. One of my favorite origin stories to tell. Obviously, like Smoochie is not my government name. My government name is Tyreek. For those of you who don't know me or who does know me, but Smoochie came about in high school. Back in which is actually me and Pharaoh Keys high school, Riverside High School. I was in show choir for 3.5 years, and it kind of developed as in like an alter ego type situation. So whenever I got on stage, everybody was like, that might be your Elvis, your Hannah Montana, your Sasha Fierce. So it was kind of like an alter ego type situation. And I think whenever I got like my first Best Performer award trophy, that's when my show choir director Kevin Hardy, shout out to him, he was like, you know what? Smoochie is who you are. Whenever you get on stage, you're a complete different person. You love to perform. You're always perfecting your craft. You're working on music. You're working on choreography. You're acting. You're showing vocals. You're showing face. You're like all of that. So all of it really just developed with me wanting to become a performer. I love to perform. And even before then, like even though the name Smoochie didn't come to high school, I was performing since elementary school. So that's just where Smoochie came from, and that's who I am. And just come from music and chorus and dance and choir, church choir, all of the above. So that's where the background comes from.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
hey, I got to see this journey live, so it's
Right.
it's not a secret to me, but to our audience, it's good to know where people get their names from and why they became
Yeah.
that person and what they
Right.
came where they came from. So, um, a quick question for you, and God, this question is also for you too, because as
Sure.
musicians, we don't really think about this, but I'm gonna ask you both. Um,
Sure.
when did music speak to you? So music is a language for those of you that's in the audience with us. Music is a language. It has its own words, it has its own phrases, and it has its own uh even if you can't speak the same verbal language, when music is sat down in front of people, they can all be on the same page. And I got to experience that when I met friends from Brazil and from France and stuff like that. So, when did if you can even remember, when did music just speak to you where you knew once you heard it, you could understand exactly what it was saying to you and you could translate it to what you wanted it to do?
Mhm. Please, Smoochie, go ahead.
For me, I always go back to, and it always has to be this. Obviously, like growing up as a kid, Barney was my go-to. Like nobody could tell me anything. Barney had all the songs, the hits, and this, that, and third. So I think developing like I guess the instrumental side of me and me just wanting to sing and stuff, it kind of came from that. But what visually caught my attention when I guess I was able to really like catch on to what music and stuff was, I always refer to the movie Sister Act 2. Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. That's what I remember. I seen the closing number, Joyful Joyful, and I was one of those kids where I had to mimic exactly what they were doing on the screen. So, I was 5, 6, 7, 8, and I was up there on stage with them in my own little world. So I think that's where it really hit. I was like, man, this really does like take me to a complete different universe. And it's one of those things where it's like the quote says, when words fail, music speaks. So sometimes you may not know what to say, but you know how to express it through song or dance or something like that. So I guess that would be like the root of it. And then I also think on like, just different how music videos were shot back then. And that just used to always catch my attention, especially like people like Michael Jackson and
Yeah.
things like that. That's what really hit and stuck for me. And then I've always said, like growing up, like I never want to be rich. I never want to be famous. I just want people to know me for performing. I want to leave an impact. I want to go out there, kill it. I want people to scream my name. That's it. I always say the money is going to come, the fame is going to come, whatever it is, whatever it is intended of that. So I
Mm.
just feel like that's where it all roots and springs from for me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding, man.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
about you, guy? When did you realize that music was actually speaking to you versus, you just listening to it?
yeah. Uh, it's an excellent question. I love it. And you know, for me, you remember, well, I don't know if you remember, but there was an album come out by Ricky Skaggs back in 80, I think it was 84 or 85. I can't remember. It was called I Got Your Heart Broke. I wasn't but about, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years old, but I remember my sister had a tape deck in her room, in her bedroom. She had a stereo and I didn't have one yet, but I could go in there and I could listen to tapes and stuff. And I went in there and I played that song, and then I started realizing that I like to sing with it. And once somebody acknowledged that they liked hearing me sing, or that, or once somebody made me feel like that I had taught, like that they like to hear me sing, then that's when music itself became a way to tell a story. Realizing that if I could put a couple words to rhyme, maybe play a little bit of music behind it and tell somebody something that maybe they didn't know, they just felt, be able to put it into some type of word form or some type of music form, then I was winning. Now, as far as like the technical side of things, to answer that question, I realized when I started going to like little picking sessions and jam sessions that, man, people that didn't know how to speak the same language could play music together.
Yeah.
People that didn't know nothing about one another, background wise, black, white, purple, didn't matter. That thing tells the same. It has a language, and once you understand how to apply a language, then it works. Even if you can't play the music with them as a singer, just understanding what's coming and how the groove's going, you get in that feeling. You know what I'm talking about? Like being in a band, there'll be them nights where it's like you feel like everything just fits perfect. Even if there's only 2 people out in the crowd, it still feels good as a band. You're like, yeah, dude, that was right. So I
Absolutely.
think it was pretty early on, man. Honestly, before I ever played any instruments, before I ever like knew anything, I just loved singing to the radio, and I knew my mom and dad liked to hear me sing, and my auntie liked to hear me sing, and then other folks started like to hear me sing, and then that was just a way to get to express yourself, man. That everybody kind of didn't matter what kind of music it was music, man. So anyway, I get I get veering off, so you got to reel me in sometimes.
No, that was great. Great answer. Great. All right. So, Smoochie, why don't you give the people a little background on where you come from musically? Because you started off in high school, but that might not be where you actually started musically
Mhm.
doing your thing. So why don't you give the people a little background on where you came from to where you're going right now?
Gotcha. Well, feel like my story is pretty simple. Kind of gives kind of like Lifetime movie. Small town boy, big city dreams. I always say that, and I always capitalize on that. But I believe like the start for me was definitely like going back to church. It was one of those Baptist churches where your family was the church. You didn't have no choice. You had to go. You were participating in whatever they were making you participate in. So
In
it goes
every
back.
in every
Right. Yeah, I had to participate in every choir, whether it was the youth choir, the mass choir, the men's choir, the senior choir. I was involved somehow, some way. So that's really where it really it started. And I think like I said, as a young kid, I remember my mom telling me, she was like, I used to hear you sing in the bathtub, like you just used to sing. And she kind of heard, and then she was like, yeah, maybe you do need to be in the choir. So once she threw me in that, I enjoyed it ever since. And then as I got to like of age and like elementary school, then I started joining chorus. And even then, it was kind of hard for me to like open up because not everybody thought that being musically inclined was like a cool thing. Like you were back then, which I don't know if it's the same way now because now I feel like I'm old compared to the what kids do nowadays. But back then it wasn't really, like there was no recognition if you were into choir or dance or anything like that. So once it just got to a point to me where I just got very comfortable with being on stage and I didn't care who was watching, who had to say what, and I would just get up there and do it. And my choir teacher, she picked up on it. She was like, "You really love to sing and you really love to perform." And I was like, "Yeah." So she would give us sheet music. I would read it just like that, and it really hit from that. So just the developing the skills from just growing up in the church choir, and then also kind of branched off into me playing drums. Now, if you would have asked me to play drums for a set, I'm going to say no. I'm not the best drummer in the family. However, it still stems from my family. I have cousins that play drums, brother, dad, everybody is somehow musically inclined.
yeah,
So
it's in your
it,
blood. It's in your blood.
yeah, it came from singing, and then also like I said, instruments come into play. So then elementary, everybody had to play the recorder, the little flute. And
Yeah.
then so then I had enjoyment. I found enjoyment in that. And then middle school came. I was able to join band. Then the trumpet. The trumpet was the most harmonic instrument to me. I felt like that was what I was going to pick up on very much
Wow.
easily. And
Yeah.
then it got to a point where I even picked up, like I said, I was already drumming at church, so I picked up the snare drum. Then my band director at the time, he was like, "You're going to do both. We're going to figure out a way for you to switch off halfway through this
Yeah.
field show, and you're going to figure it out." So it just, I don't, something about learning the history of music and dissecting words and lyrics and stuff like that. Where does it come from? Why did the artist
Yeah.
say this? Why did they say that? And then
Yeah.
just having all of that in tune with how I was raised or what my journey was been like. So
Yeah.
for me, I would say that that is the stem of everything, honestly. Like every time I dissect a song or writing or anything like that, writing for myself, writing for other people, I just go back to, like, what have I been through? Because you never know who you can touch, just like
Yeah.
music touches me in different ways.
Yeah.
Whether you reach one person or a million people,
That's
music
right.
it's very diverse. So you can
That's
go
right.
about it any kind of way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, I can dig that, man, because I long before I could ever really play my guitar, work being able to put words into some type of phrasing that sounded well in my ear.
Hmm.
Wasn't about what everybody else hears, but like, does this make sense in my mind?
Yeah.
And does it fit into a compartment? Because music is it's got a little compartment it fits in depending on
Right.
what you're doing. And that
Absolutely.
was kind of like my whole thing, but I didn't have no clue yet how
Right.
that you spoke it through your instrument, how you was able
Hmm.
to, though, up until just not too awful many years ago. I hate to sound like I'm that old, but I said it on a I've said it on a live stream many times. Man, when I played in the band, my job was to sing. That's what I
Hmm.
filled out the to do. I went and tried out and auditioned. That's what my job was. They didn't care whether I could play a guitar. They didn't care what they didn't care. Now they like
Hmm.
that I write. They love that part, and they
Right.
love that I tried to play. I tried to play, but I was still guessing. I still had not
Yeah.
understood the I think we froze up there. At least I catch up with us. There it comes. We're back. Yeah,
Yep, there
I
you go.
skipped out on you. If I don't on my
Yeah.
side, but yeah, man, it's really cool. I love hearing people's story, how they come to it, because I try to put the good word out when it comes to music, man. I try to reach
Mhm.
out and grab a hold of anybody and just show. Now, I don't try to be a teacher. I try to be an inspiration. Like, look, there's a lot more to it
Right.
than just the music. That it soothes. It's supper for my soul. It
Mhm.
is supper for my soul. I can come in my little room before I ever started turning no cameras on. I come in this same little room and I did the same thing. I would sit down and play my instrument, and I would try to come up with words that felt good to me and express myself.
Yep.
That was it. That's what and that's still at the that's what I find my pleasure in. I still would do it, whether I had my little streaming camera or a computer, any of this, and my stuff would still be set. Matter of fact, I'd have some more room because I have eat up with my space with all this stuff, man. So you know, but yeah, it's cool to hear your journey, dude. I appreciate you sharing, and
Yeah. And
I
also just to piggyback off of what you said too, I think after a while I started to realize like the education and what music gives you.
yeah,
And luckily I've had like mentors and teachers and stuff that's really helped me, like what is whenever somebody writes a word, what does this mean? What is the root of the word, and just fitting everything to melody, everything. Like I said, my high school choir director, he used to always instill in us like what our core subjects is also
yeah,
in music. And I
Yep.
think that's where I appreciated it a lot more as well, because there is different things like theories and strategics on like rhythm and timing and stuff. So that's science, and then you have counts, which is math, and then English and origin.
yeah,
All of that plays a big part, and then of course you have like social studies and history. When
yeah,
was this song written? Why was it written? The background story, the origin of it. So I think
yeah.
that's another thing that really helped me develop. Like music really hits for me the way that it does because of that
Awesome.
reason as well.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I love it.
So Smoochie, since we talking about like the history of music and just learning about music in general, who is your
Mhm.
favorite artist? What artist has influenced you the most? Not the most. So whoever you think of when you think of like when you write, who influences you the most?
Mhm.
Okay, so it's a hard question, and I feel like sometimes I get a lot of hate from this answer. However, people that really inspires me whenever it comes to musical, just like their musical genius overall, and I always think about who can write, who can perform. I feel like there's differences. I like to put them in different avenues. But whenever it comes to performers for me personally, it's always going to be Michael Jackson. It's going to be Chris Brown. And
Yeah.
then whenever it comes to like songwriting, it's always going to be R. Kelly, Babyface, and you have artists like Otis Redding, things like that. So I realize like whenever I write, I'm thinking about like their impact and stuff that they went through, because all of nobody's perfect. And something that I always think about is I've I can't remember where I heard this one time before, but somebody said the reason why Michael Jackson's music was so good is because he never took the time to focus on the backlash and like put out a post to the haters on social media. Michael Jackson wasn't big on that. He was always focusing on the future and the longevity of his music. And so I think that now whenever I'm like in the writing process, I have to keep that in my mind, because I'm like, it doesn't matter what other people have to say, it doesn't matter what other people are writing or doing, as long as this is your voice, your words, that's what you need to push through. So I feel like those are like my main like powerhouse people. Like I said, like Babyface, R. Kelly, Kirk Franklin. You have it's so many great composers and stuff like that. It's hard for me to say one honestly, but like I said, it's different avenues whenever it comes to music. So I feel like personally, you have to categorize. You have performers, singers, composers, and that's just how it is. You can't pick one.
I feel you on that. 'Cause Babyface is somebody who, if you didn't know his catalog, you
Hmm.
would think that he had the catalog because of his stuff. But if you go
Literally,
back and look at his catalog, it's like, wow, this guy wrote
Yeah.
for everybody and anybody.
literally.
Yeah.
And one time I was even like, whenever I was professionally background dancing for another artist, we had opened up for Babyface, and just hearing like he's going on stage, I'm like, Babyface don't got no music like that. He's getting up there doing soundtracks, and I'm like, he's allowed to do that because he is he was the soundtrack. So I'm
It's
like, if
all him.
I can even get myself to do something like that, that's perfect. I've lived my life. If I can get to the catalog of Babyface, nobody can tell me anything.
So you touched on a little bit of your dancing. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about who you dance for and what artists you dance for, and what kind of what that entails as a musician versus being a dancer, because you're going to hear it a little bit different versus being a from choreography.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so back in 20 well, okay, yeah. 2022, back whenever I had moved to Nashville, signed with a talent agency called Showtime Studios, and they were ones who really put me on. They were like, you know what, your presence and your stage presence says a lot. And that was just based off of social media. I gave them my resume, they looked over it. So they gave me a chance. And I took that out. Once I had one opportunity, one open window, I took it, ran with it. And ever since then, like it was nothing but success. Now it gets very stressful, but it was success. I've opened up for some of the greatest entertainers and singers and stuff, like Babyface, for example, Fantasia, Rick Ross, Plies. The list goes on and on. It's a good amount, and just being awarded opportunities to be like at the VMA Awards and do like commercials and stuff, just because dancing and an opportunity. I've never said that I was a dancer. I've always said I'm an all-purpose entertainer. So, nobody. I don't want to be subject to just one specific field, because I feel like if you say, "Oh, I'm a singer," nobody's gonna look at you as a dancer. If I say I'm a dancer, nobody's gonna look at you as an actor. If I'm an actor, nobody's gonna look at you as a model. So I just say all around purpose entertainer, because I like to maneuver in different avenues. But whenever it comes to just professional background dancing, it's a lot. It is very it's a lot on your body. It's something that you really have to train for. You are not just going to wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I want to be a professional background dancer." You're not going to get out there and pop lot. No, you're going to be sore the next day. It's going to be terrible. So I highly encourage anybody who ever wants to get into professional background dancing. Definitely, just you have to start small, grow into it, and that's literally what I did. Like I said, an opportunity came. I started the first big show that I've ever done was a music festival in Tampa, Florida, and that was where I opened up for Babyface and Plies and Fantasia and stuff like that. So just getting to be in that space and being that having that opportunity, you have to. It's different from being vocally trained, how I am, and some people can naturally sing, some people can naturally dance. You still have to work at both, regardless of if you
Mm,
think you can do it or if you can't. But
yeah.
it just it was a lot. And then also with professional background dancing, I was also filming a reality show for dancing, being on the dance talent agency, and that plays a big part too. Whenever you have to focus on routines and perfecting stuff, and then you want to make sure that everybody as a unit looks great, because you have other dancers and stuff. So they may ask you questions. You have to just you can't think automatic. You have to really take your time and dissect songs and things like that. So it's a lot, but I definitely encourage anybody to do it. And no, I don't believe there's an age. Honestly, I feel like anybody can get up there and dance. I'm not saying get up there, start spinning on your head, do the screwdriver, two step, and all of that. I'm not saying that. Definitely take your time. If you just need to do the Watusi or shuffle, stick with that. But yeah, as of like I said, my professional background is it just I want to say it came overnight, but at the same time it didn't. I mean, I've worked
Yeah.
just like anybody else. Like it didn't come overnight. And I've, like I said, being doing it in high school and middle school, and I've always, trained myself to do that. And like I said, I was just one of those kids where I would dance around the house for no reason. Like music on or music not on, I'm still creating choreography to whatever
Yeah.
melody or whatever is in my head. So
Yeah.
it all comes from that.
Yeah. Man. Man.
Yeah.
That's a stellar start, buddy. That's a stellar start, my friend.
Yeah.
That's outstanding, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dancing was one of those things that I was always referred to the feller that had some awkward movements almost in time. That's what my dancing looks like. Some really awkward movements, almost in time. Almost. I might be just bit behind on the beat
Mhm.
there, but
And
that's
I really
awesome.
do. I realize now, like the stuff that goes viral, you don't have to know how to dance. Like honestly,
Oh no.
you get out there and do anything, it's going to blow up. So that's why I always encourage people. They're like, I don't think I can do it. You just have to get on stage and do it. Like whatever platform that you're doing it, just move.
Yeah.
Like that's literally
Yeah.
all it is. Even if you feel like you're overdoing it or you look stupid, they always say that's perfect.
Yeah.
So
I was always pretty well ensured that I looked stupid, but I still did it.
The big creative, the first TikTok trend. You never know.
right.
Yeah, I danced a little bit, but I was literally the guy in show choir that just did the lifts. Like that was what my job. Like if you needed somebody to go flying through the air, that was my job. That's what they put me up to the front for. It wasn't because I could dance. It was because I was strong enough to throw the girl.
That's a pretty good attribute to have. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
I was
And I always tell
always
people
just small
too,
enough to be the
choreography.
fella that got thrown.
Choreography is one thing, and then freestyling is another. So both are always needed. So
Yeah,
that's
fun.
true. That's true. While you were dancing, was you not in a music video? Did you not get in a music video?
I did 4 music videos. Yes. One of them was with Boozy. Yes, Boozy. Put that thing on live. I'll give you $1,000. Boozy. Yes, that's him. It was the song that I did was "Welcome to America" with him and another artist named Common Tribe. Great people to work with. Definitely, I would love to work with Boosie again. We filmed it at his house, because he has a beautiful house in Atlanta, Georgia. And the other artist, another one is called. His name is Easy Theezy. He's not currently making music anymore, but it was just a fun video. We also shot in Atlanta. Another one, Two Live Breed, that we were at a roller skating rink, at a skating park and stuff like that. So just different. It's always been either hip hop or freestyling, or and choreography as well. But it's always kind of like more street. And then it's one thing to dance in music videos and then get out in an arena and dance as well, because I perform with artists where you have to take up the stage. So even though like you may have other dancers that have to flip, I don't flip personally. I'm not equipped to do that, because I will break everything in my body if I attempt. However, I still have to use up the stage. If I'm not flipping, I have to go crazy. So it's just you have to utilize the space that you're in. You have to strategically think like, this is the picture, this is the choreography. How can I make this look big and give people their money? Pretty much like give what they're paying for. So
it's a lot of work, man. That's like you got to be tip top physical shape, don't you? I mean,
yes,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like cardio.
We would practice. We would literally practice all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Because I mean, I just think about like, I mean, I'm funny. I don't mind to dance at all and everything, but like I think about just dancing to one song, like getting out and dancing on a dance floor to one song. It'll wear dude. You'll feel like you don't ran a marathon if you're not used to doing it. You're like, whoo, that's all I got, man. I better give you all I got the first 2 minutes, and then after that, it's over, man. It's a lot of work.
You definitely have to pace yourself. I would do like 15 to 20-minute sets where you would really have to like pop in, pop out, and it was like run off stage, hurry up, change your costume. You have 30 seconds, rip something off, go back out there. So you have to, like I said, you can't think automatic. You have to really take the time and be like, okay, I have to go now. You have to maneuver this. You got to figure out which way you got to move. You don't want to mess up the picture, and you don't want it to affect the artist as well whenever you're on stage or on camera in a music video or anything like that.
A lot of mental and physical going on at the same time, man. Yeah,
and then it can be a toll on your emotional as well. So it's a lot.
Indeed. Man, that's awesome, man. I'm super proud of you, dude. I'm just thankful to get to talk to you, man. That is really cool, man. Really cool.
Absolutely,
Keep
absolutely.
on
I'm
them.
trying. Everybody,
Yeah.
with all means necessary, I'm trying any chance and opportunity that I get. I try
Yeah.
to take it as long as it's legit. It makes sense for me, my brand, and how I
Yeah.
can help elevate and put other people on after the fact. I always do it. I always sign up for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Outstanding, dude. That's the way. If you're really serious about it, in my personal opinion, like grassroots kind of stuff never dies.
So
When
that
it's
is a
when it's sincere.
This
Uh,
is a really good question. So we want to
yep.
let me shout out the chat real quick. So everybody in the chat, hey, how you doing? Well, we on Weeby Gym and Live. I'm Pharaoh Keys. I got my man Guy being my
What's up?
guest
What's up?
right now, and or he's my co-host, and my guest right now is supposed to be tripping, an artist that's in the R&B pop world that also has done a lot of work in hip hop and things like that. And the question that came, and it's a good question because it comes
yeah.
from Big Jack.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a bad artist to work with?
Oh,
This is a safe space,
um,
so
it
you
it has been a few. However, Um, I will say a lot of things that you see on TV and movies is 98% true backstage and off camera. I will say that. I mean, it's not like they would sue me, so I'm not sure if I can name drop, but I don't care. However, I will say it's always a pleasure meeting certain people, but whenever you like get to see their personality, whether it's like I said, off camera, on camera, stuff like that. CeeLo Green was a very difficult person to work with, and it was very much hurtful because I was a CeeLo Green fan. Like I'm a still sing "Forget You" and "Fool for You" to the day I die. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I'll sing it, but I don't have respect for you. He's just very, he's just very disrespectful for no reason, and I think he's one of those people where he thinks he's bigger than the program, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So I definitely put him at number one, and I haven't had too many other bad artists. But it's just a matter of, I guess it depends on them in that moment, like how they're portraying themselves, and we're co-workers at this point. Like you hired me, you're my boss. So at the
Right.
same time, I can't fold my arms, I can't talk back, I can't do anything because you're paying me. You asked me to be a dancer or anything like that. So it's just one of those things where you kind of have to deal with it.
Mm.
There now, like I said, a lot of stuff that you see in movies and TV shows is definitely 98% true. I have been in a situation backstage where security has had to pull out guns on artists that's coming with entourages, and we've been bum rushed in dressing rooms. I've been also been in a situation where they've let off smoke bombs to clear a venue as well. So it's a lot that I guess the artists come with, like I guess it's their baggage, like their entourage. Sometimes it is them directly, but there's a few bad ones out there. I will say that.
yeah, I've met a couple of people backstage, and I'm like, if it
And
wasn't for the fact that
it's
we on,
so bad because it's like you're in this experience yourself, so you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. And then you meet like an artist or you come across somebody, and then they're just not who you expect them to be, and it's like,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
So
they say never meet your
Disappointing.
hero.
yeah, that's why I love Chris, but I can't work with Chris Brown. I just feel like we would clash just because I want to work with him so bad. So
Get there, and yeah, but you know, everybody has their thing. Everybody's
Yeah.
right.
got.
That was a
All right,
really good question, though.
it was a great one
Yeah.
because we talk about all the good, but sometimes it's good to give people the insight on you know what's been
Yeah.
going on. CeeLo about
Well,
to drop an
musicians
album
are
anyway.
weird people. Let's be honest. Musicians are weird people. They're a different
Yeah.
kind of people anyway, in my experience. Like, well, not famous wise, but like just
Mhm.
musicians in general are just they're sometimes hard to deal with. It- Everybody's got their own little ego. Everybody's got their own
Mhm.
little Karen
I
that's balled up
I try
inside of
to
them, just wanting to come
I
out,
tr-
and it's like,
I try to make excuses, and I'm like, you know what? They've been in the game for 18 years. It's okay for them to act like no.
no,
It's not honestly like depending on the space. It's not okay for them to act like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't, I mean, you gotta give them grace because it's a
Right.
lot of pressure when you up there, but still
Absolutely.
you gotta be
Well,
Yeah.
and like Smoochie said earlier, is like, that's not sometimes you just gotta say, "Man, it's my job. I just gotta get my
Yeah.
job done, and then I'm
Mhm.
going to the house, and I don't never have to think about this fool again."
Literally, that's me. I'm like, once
It's
the
like,
show is done, I
yeah,
will go and it'll be me and those four walls, and I'm gonna mind my business. So
yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
As long as the check clears, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a win. It's a
Right.
win.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good. Man, that's outstanding story, though, dude. That's an awesome share. And as you, if you don't mind me asking you just one, I mean, a little follow up on things. It along your journey, I know you have your reasons that you started. You had a focus, or it was an inspiration to begin. But has there been that thing that you found that you didn't see coming, that just sticks out? Like you're like, whoa, I didn't see this joy being found in this particular thing.
Yeah, and that's a really good question too. I believe the thing for me would be just hosting in general. I love to entertain people. And like I said, being on stage is one thing, but whenever you're getting to really engage with the audience and things like that, me just starting to do like hosting within the past 2 years, with hosting like events or different shows and stuff like that. I think that's been like my escape, and I think that's like my safe card. So whenever I want to like duck out, no, I don't want to perform. That's like my go-to. So and not even just like hosting and shows, just like podcasts as well. Like I have my own podcast called Smoochie's World, and the whole platform is about like, because I've been me being in the industry and still growing in the industry, I want to connect with people that's also in it, trying to
Mhm.
be in it or anything like that. So I always say every day I'm trying to walk in my purpose, and I reach out to people just like that. So
Excellent.
overall, like hosting is what I love to do now, and which I still love to perform. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that sometimes hosting is kind of like a safer space because you kind of get to play around with stuff. And then at
Yeah,
one point in time, I was like, you know what, social media and comedy will be like my go-to thing.
yeah,
And I've never thought that I was funny. I've just talked and people be laughing, and
mm,
especially like in school or in class, I would say what everybody was thinking, and everybody would die laughing. So
mm,
I'm like, if I'm doing that, I feel like I can get on social media and do that as well. And it was kind of like you have to be strategic about social media too, especially like comedy, because you have to, what you can say and what you can't say. And the world is so sensitive nowadays that you
yeah,
have to really watch your words.
yeah,
So once, like I said, the avenue just kind of took a steer into like, no,
yeah,
you are going to be a performer and you are going to host and you're going to be able to do both. So you're going to
yeah,
create your own platform to
yeah,
where you can do all of the above. And
yeah,
that's what Smoochie's World is, honestly. Like I'm just different events I'm lining up. And like I said, I now also something else that I never thought I'd be doing. I'm managing 5 different rap artists.
oh
And
man,
that is very stressful
I,
because
yeah,
now that I realize as a manager, you don't have any days off. So every like this past week, I've had to deal with me booking a show. They double booked me, so then I had to recreate everything, and I had to move my date. Along
mhm,
with that, I have to hear everybody's set list. Everybody sending me music. Everybody now wants to get in the studio because we have the show coming up. Now I have to listen to their music. They want me to figure out what they want me to perform. And then along in my journey, I've also became a stylist. So now they're trying to throw clothes at me and figure out what looks good. So as a manager, you do have to maneuver all of that as well. And like I said, I'm still working on music for myself. I'm getting in the studio, I'm writing. So it's a lot. But overall, like that whole niche of hosting and creating my own platform and performing, I think that's just been always that I feel like that's my calling. That's the
yeah,
only thing that I feel like I can
yeah,
take off with. I don't have to I can be independent as long as I want to.
yeah,
If I would
yeah,
choose to sign with any label or anything like that, I can.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it is a lot. It's stressful, but I mean, at the same time, it's what I asked for. It's
yeah,
worth it at the end of the day, especially like
yeah,
whenever you have all these people viewing, you see the views, you see the comments, you see the shares, the reposts, the likes. So that
yeah,
is very appreciative. So I
yes,
love it. I shouldn't complain about it, but sometimes it is, like I said, it is exhausting, but you
Yeah.
just have to make the most of it.
Yeah. Well, even your dream job is going to have certain aspects in which that, you're going to have those, man, that
Right.
just sucks moment. But just to add to what you're saying, the great part about this social media experiment and the idea around these platforms, it gives an opportunity to build a platform in which that you're happy with. You can be a little bit of everything if that's what you choose to be. Now,
Right.
it may not line up with what algorithms and these other fancy words might say, but if it
Yep.
lines up with you, my friend, then
Mm,
that's where the most important part comes in, is
literally.
is being able to exercise that whole part of, because it's not just about one or the other. There's a lot of
Yep.
aspects. And the
Mhm.
inspiration, I think, behind your story is that, man, when you try something new or you start a journey, you just don't never know what else you're going to find along the way that you never seen coming, that you're like, man, I
Right.
love this. I love this part of this. Or I didn't know that I would like, this side of things.
Yep.
So that's just really cool, Smoochie. That's really
Yeah.
cool, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commendable.
All right, Smoochie. So you, we've talked about the different jobs that you had, the different roles that you've taken on, and I get to see
Mhm.
all your comments anyway because I still manage your page. Uh, so, when they send notifications, I got to turn mine off because it's like, man, he dropped something else, they
Yeah.
blowing up. Um,
Literally.
do you have any music, your music, let's say your music, that you would
Mhm.
like to share with us today? Anything you want to sing? You want to give people the people a taste? It could be a cappella. You could throw on a beat.
Um, I feel like there's always a song in my heart. However, I'm trying to think. I do have some new music that I am working on, and I do want. I think the reason why I'm wanting to put out music for myself now is because I feel like I've kind of neglected myself whenever it comes to music. I feel like I've always written for other people and try to, like promote other people, put other people on, but what people fail to realize is that I have a voice, and it's not for me to even sound cocky, but I know I can sing. I can blow any song out of the water if I really try, if I wanted to, and I feel like that's what I'm doing with this album that I'm currently working on, and the album is going to be titled TYSM. And the reason why it is TYSM, TY Tyreek, SM Smoochie, and pretty much TYSM. Thank you so much. I'm saying I'm appreciative of the people that has been rocking with me in this journey. So within this album, you're going to hear different genres of music. I don't want to be subject. I don't want people to say, "Oh, he's an R&B or a pop artist." No, I have a song where I'm going to
I'm
give
gonna
you
give you
reggae. I
reggae.
have a
I have
song
a
where I'm going
song
to
where
give
I'm
you
gonna give
gospel. I have a song where I'm going to give you rock and roll. I have a song where I'm going to give you rap. So it's just I feel like all genres of music offer something different, and therefore that's why I kind of want to touch roots into all of that. Like I said, I'm a theater kid, so I'm a nerd. Everything tells a story, and yeah, for the most part, that's musically. I promise I will release something very very soon. Um, However, I feel like in this album, people need to hear Tyreek first before they hear Smoochie, because I feel like sometimes it can be hidden that Tyreek is the one that started out first with the voice, So they will get to see and hear that the first single will be titled 4 a.m. in Montgomery, and it is a testimony pretty much. It's really good. It's like a real down home, down earthy gospel, old blues type vibe.
Got a lot of
And I'm excited
Yeah.
to release it. It's definitely going to give you Otis Redding meets Leon Thomas meets Sam Smith it's a lot. So
Yeah.
it's really really good. I'm excited.
that
Heck
is for
yeah.
sure because I've already heard a little sample of it. It's real
That's
nice.
awesome.
It's definitely eclectic, and you can definitely feel like your style to it.
Mhm.
That they put in the comments. Drop a sample. Drop a sample. Sing us a little something of it.
Okay, gotcha. Hold on. Y'all know I don't be remembering my own lyrics. 1 second.
Yeah.
I got y'all.
So while he's pulling up the lyrics, For anybody who's just dropped in, we on We Be Jamming Live. We live with your boy Pharaoh Keys, my co-host for today, Guy, and our guest Smoochie Be Trippin', an artist that's currently in Maryland, has been in a couple different states, but started right here in West Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing
What an outstanding story too, bro. I mean, you know what I mean? Getting it done, working hard. Shout out to everybody out there. I see you guys out there, man. Appreciate everybody being here. Glad to be here with these two fine fellas talking music, man. I think I could this is the kind of stuff like I could talk. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I sit and listen to I just like to hear other people's story behind music because it's always a little different, but at the core, it winds up being the same a lot. It's a personal journey, man. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all a little. Hold on 1 second. Y'all can see y'all can still see and hear me.
Yep. I just
Okay.
made you.
Gotcha. All right, so like I said, the song is going to be my first single that I ever put out. It is titled 4 a.m. in Montgomery. In parentheses, it is called a Smoochie Prayer because whenever I originally wrote this, the story behind it is I was literally like, this was a little bit before COVID started. Grandfather had just passed away. He was like my best friend. And I remember saying, like, it was one of those things where I was having nightmares. I would be up all night. And I stayed up one night and I was just working on a song. I had this melody in my head, couldn't get it out, so I just started writing and writing and writing. I was like, I don't know if I'm ever make it in the industry at all. If I don't, oh well, I'm just gonna. So this song is titled 4 a.m. in Montgomery, a Smoochie Prayer, and just a little sample of it. I'm gonna give y'all. I came from a small town where the river runs slow. Dreams feel heavy when your pockets don't show. Mama told me, baby, don't you lose your faith. So I'm talking to the Lord while I'm finding my place. I done cried in the booth, I done prayed on the floor. Telling heaven I can't take no more. But I know you see me working with nobody do. Every song I sing, Lord, I'm singing to you. I've been praying to make it, oh Lord, I made it. From the bottom to the light, trying to take my friend in the praise tonight. They don't know what it took just to stand right here. But you carry me through every doubt, every tear. I've been praying to make it. And that's what it is right now. So far, like I said, when I get in the booth, y'all want to hear the background vocals. It's going to be a whole thing. It's a music video. It's been storyboarded. So I'm excited. So yeah, that's just a little
I love
sample.
it. Outstanding, man. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's nice guy. It's amazing. It's a real story. You're gonna feel the down home vibes. It's gonna feel like home,
Yeah.
but it's also gonna feel like we get to see where you coming from. So I
like it.
really appreciate you putting your pen down on the paper because a lot of artists right now are struggling to do that, and the fact that you are still doing it is a testament to where this thing actually does speak to you because
Right.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now it's and just to talk about a little history of the music and stuff like that. Right now, it's a lot of artists that are trying to find their way through the mix. You know, a lot of people are putting out music, whether it's AI generated or if they're sitting in the studio by themselves. And you can go on any like YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and there's a bunch of people that's like live streaming and they're just reviewing music and to see the different areas that people are coming from and the stories that they're trying to tell. A lot of people are going through a whole lot of different stuff, but a lot of people are going through the same thing just in a different area. Like they don't get to see,
Right.
how somebody else is going through. And it's a real testament to where your music is going to speak to somebody who may listen to it down the road. I want to encourage you because I've been telling you this for a long time, but I want to encourage you that you need to go ahead and just start putting it out because you never know who's gonna be sitting on like a live stream here and just heard your song and was like, man, I really felt that like he really
Mhm.
was digging in
Yeah.
my pockets and I didn't even, get get a
Right.
chance handle everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just read my diary right there, and
Right.
Yeah. That's a fact, man. That's a
That's
fact. I
true.
mean, you've got the first win, which is showing up, bro.
Mhm.
That's where a lot of folks lose the game right off is they don't
Mhm.
show up. And it sounds to me like you've got that ethic already mastered because I believe that's the first real thing. That's the first real trick is just show up.
Mhm.
Show up and be there and be in the mix and be a part of things. And man, I think you're doing a good job. I like the words. I like that kind of stuff. I like story kind of song. I like
Thank you.
music
Thank
in
you.
general, but I really lean towards the story. I like the story side of what's this person telling me within this song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you'll hear somebody that can sing really well and they sound great, but it's like I don't really get I don't
Yeah.
what
There's no purpose in the
y-
song.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
I'm really big on that, and I think too because, like I said, I really took the time to work on the lyrics to this song. Like I said, a lot of times Tyreek likes to hide behind Smoochie. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. And Smoochie is more so the upfront, loud, ratchet one, and that's why I couldn't lead with Smoochie because I'm like people are going to expect that, and
yeah,
so I wanted to give them the root of who Smoochie was, and that's where it all came from. So
good job.
yeah.
yep, good job, great job. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoochie, we touched on a little bit of your managerial skills that you got going on. Can you give us a little bit of the artists that you're working with right now?
Yes, so I do have I have a rap artist. Originally he is from West Virginia, but he now lives in Louisville, Kentucky. His name is Louis J. He's one of the best ones that I've ever worked with. Super professional, super about his craft. And I think the reason why it's it's funny, I've told the story as well on my podcast. He comes from the show choir world as well, and he was more so a cappella group, and he was the beatboxer. He would rap and stuff like that. So once he came out of that, he was doing music, but nobody was really listening to him, and nobody ever put him on. So the first chance that I got, July of last year, I believe, somebody hit me up. They were like, "For Smoochie, we would love for you to host this show, but we have two opening slots. We don't know what to do with. So can you help us out, figure something out?" So immediately called him, called my other homeboy Religion, another artist that I manage. And just with Louis J, just because like I said, we both come from the show choir world. So to see the versatility in music, and people are like, "Oh, y'all are theater kids." That's all they think. They don't assume that we can do other stuff. So I hit him up. He was like, I was like, "Yeah, I have a booking in Huntington at the Loud, and I really need you." And he was like, "You just give me gas money, I'm there." He didn't question it. It was nothing like that. He was like, "Because you're the only person that ever gave me an opportunity to really put me on." And it was one of those things where I heard his music, I was like, he slept on. And so that's when I knew. I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna push him the way that I know that I can. And different opportunities always comes my way, and sometimes I can't always do them. So he's available whenever I can't, and so that's
Mhm.
why I push him, as well as the Religion. Religion is he's originally from Chicago, but now he lives here in Maryland as well. His music, he's more of like that Rod Wave, Chris Brown type, but he's very much he knows what he's doing lyrically, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. And so the first time I ever heard anything by him, his words stuck to me just like that. And I was able, whenever I can listen to music and I can visualize things. If I
Yeah.
can visualize a music video, or I can hear your song in a soundtrack or about part of a sound, anything
Yeah.
like that, it sticks with me. And so loyalty, everybody says this in the music industry, loyalty goes a long way, and longevity. So them two
Yes,
were
sir.
very much serious about their craft, and they were like, you know what? They loved how I had everything rolled out for them. I was like, you know what? Sound check is at this time. Do y'all have this? Do y'all have that? I'm making sure that they're comfortable, because every time with any artist that I work with, you have to make
Yep.
sure that the artist is comfortable for them to go out, perform their best.
Mm.
Period. I don't care what anybody says. Argue with your kids, don't argue with me. That's just how it is. I feel like every artist, grant, group, band, soloist, they have to be comfortable in their environment. So I would just make sure that, me being the hospitable person that I am, the way I was raised, I took them in like they were my brothers. So that's just, it was a family ever since. And then once I connected with them two and hit it off, and we did I think we 2 or 3 shows in, and 2 other artists hit me up. They was like, "You're really doing your thing with them," and they were like, "I need some assistance. Can you?" And then that came Adaptive Gemini. He's here from Maryland. Then another one from West Virginia. His name is Crash the Youngin. So then that came, and then Religion was like, "Hey, I have a homeboy moving from Arizona coming back to Maryland."
Mhm.
Tris RX came into place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really about, I was like, okay, I got all rappers, but at the same time, they don't only rap. Like I said,
Right.
they will sing if they have to. They're great musicians. They know what they're doing. They're professional. They show up, they show out, and the music and the talent speaks for itself. So
Yeah.
once you build that trust and that bond and stuff with them, we hang out all the time.
Yeah.
It was just success from there. So
Yeah.
I just always push them. So
Yeah.
now I have shows coming up. They already know what it is. When I text them and I say, "Hey, I need you this day," da, 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 they're like, "Okay, I'll request it off work." I'm like, "Great,"
Yeah.
and we just go from there. So
Yeah.
nowadays, I just text them. I'm like, "This is your set time. Send me your set list. Boom, and we're good." So
Yeah.
yeah, I like manage. I do like managing. Like I said, it does come with a lot. I have to listen to their music, and then They want me to also be creative director, so then that involves music videos, and then because I am a dancer, they want me to choreograph as well, and it's a lot. Which I am growing my team slowly but surely whenever it comes to production, and maybe like another choreographer as well, so that I don't have to choreograph a whole thing. It is growing, so I am grateful and I'm thankful for that. And
Mhm.
like I said, they've been a blessing just to me as they say I have been to them, so I'm appreciative of it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I do got another question for you because you mentioned all these artists and you doing all this behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, are you going to put the band back together? Because most people don't know that you have performed with the Heavy Hitters a
I
number of
did.
times, and
Absolutely, yeah. And what's crazy is I have. I feel like what, Heavy Hitters. I believe that was the start for me, honestly. After show choir and all of that. So shout out to the Heavy Hitters band. Y'all got to tap in with them for sure. And
Yeah.
then
Check out the Heavy
eventually
Hitters, man. Yeah.
it branched off into, he was like, you need to get your own band. So therefore, we also went into that for a little bit, and then like I said, like just a career change and stuff like that. But I would love to. I think because I'm such a theatrical person, and I'm always like working on the next thing. So like whenever I like create sets in my head for, okay, whenever it's time for me to get on stage, I do need that band DJ type mix, because I love live instruments. You can't, once your band sounds amazing,
Yeah.
people are going to be hooked. So I do love that combo of, the live band along with the DJ. So I would love to eventually get that back to where, people can just have that experience, and it just makes me feel even better. It makes me perform even harder, go crazy on stage. So yeah, I would absolutely love to get the band back together, in the words of Phineas and Ferb. Would love to.
hey, it's crazy. And go ahead, Big Jack, if you want to, you can go ahead and cue that up. I'm gonna just riff a little bit. It's crazy to think that, like, back in the day. So let me drop a little gem on all the people that's still here, and for you, Guy.
Yeah.
Um, Smoochie is my cousin,
Okay.
so yeah. So it's crazy to have been able to see the things that are going on with him and musically wise and stuff like that. So every
Yeah.
time I see it, I'll text him and be like, "Hey, do this instead of this," or "Hey, you doing a good
Mhm.
job on this because that's perfect." And I
Yeah.
haven't been doing it recently because you getting all the feedback you need from the Facebook posts and the Instagram posts and all that stuff. But
I try.
I really want to see you come back with a live band because we
Mm.
I put on a show out here in Huntington for Juneteenth, and we had three we had 3 artists. We had the heavy hitters. We had Aristotle Jones was on with us last week, and we
Mhm.
had Smoochie. And Smoochie opened up the show,
Mhm.
and the turnout I didn't get the turnout that I wanted to, and I was kind of bummed out about it. Blah blah blah. But Smoochie and his band got up there and turned it out, and it didn't even matter after they played their set, like what the turnout was, because he had the people eating out of the palm of his hand. And then when we got up there, we just, carried it a little further. And then when Aristotle came in, they just hit it home. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's something that, you don't think about at that moment. And I haven't thought about it in a long time, but like if it wasn't for the way that you perform, it I would have been down in the dumps about a show that had maybe 50 people there in a theater
Right.
that holds 200, 300 people.
Right.
Everybody sitting in one section, but you had them all standing up and dancing, and they stood and danced the entire time after
Yeah.
you got off the stage. And the band locked in after the first song, and it was something that was magical.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I always like to tell people, like I said, whether it's one person in the audience, two, or a mass of people, I like to connect with, even if I have to lock in with one specific person whenever I'm like looking out in the audience, I will turn it up the best way that I can. And just because, like I said, naturally I just love to perform, but also you never know what the audience is going through. You don't see their personal life. So I'm like, I'm gonna make them get up and dance. They may not believe that they want to get up right now, but I'm gonna make them. I'm gonna make them feel welcome. I'm gonna make them feel comfortable, and that's just my goal ever since then. And I'm glad that you did bring up that moment because that was a really good show overall. And I'm one of those people where I always, as soon as I get off stage, I never live in the moment. I'm like, okay, how can I be better for the next show? And I'm always critiquing. And so now that I can look back on, I'm like, that was a good show because at the time I was like, no, I should have did this different. I should have did this. So now I'm trying to like live in the moment whenever I get off stage or I'm performing. So I am glad that you brought that moment up. Yeah, but that was a really great show, and I was very grateful for the opportunity as well.
You deserve these opportunities, man. I was glad I got to facilitate, that type of opportunity. Get you in front of
Right.
a crowd that, wouldn't never see. And whenever you get your band back together, you are coming down to the Loud and we're gonna tear the roof off the place. But or
Absolutely.
actually we're going to the Blue Parrot whenever you get your band back
That'll
together.
work.
We're going right downtown Charleston and we're gonna tear the roof off.
That's right.
We can run that back.
Yes, sir. So we've gotten to our hour mark, and our guest Smoochie has been a great guest. He's given us a lot of stories, and as Big Jack said, he had the ad for you. Big Jack, whenever you're ready, you can throw that up there.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Looking good.
Smoochie's world. Hey, yo, Smooch, they ain't ready for this. Come on. Let's go. This around my neck like they hit the Harlem Shake. Don't gotta stop the hustle, boy, erase the stakes. That's my passport, got the money.
I ain't watching, I'ma dance in the rain. When on the big and better, swear I don't wanna say. Gotta be number respect from my.
First case, I was facing a 40 ball. Nigga got in that room and he told it all. Papa K50 did shit just like a home.
It's so many personalities and all these artists. I just get overwhelmed looking at it. Like, it's crazy.
First thing I did, I flexed on my ex. Got something to say.
Wake up and gotta get straight to the bag. These niggas be playing and I smoke it.
Bitch, I'm on the block. I stay loaded. I keep me a 40 Glock. In my pockets, they really be full of knots. If you run up, I'm splitting your fucking top. Made me call a big gang just to send a drive.
Promise we gon' make it out. We gon' make it through the wall. I done been through hell and back, but your niggas standing strong. I done been on back roads. Yeah. Back road, baby.
To deserve this, didn't mean that on purpose. I hope it was all well worth it. Living like fast, swerving. She want a bag.
Club, all hundreds, and that gas on me. Who needs I? Good price, you can't pass on it.
I got a cash flow coming in heavy. I'm gonna bring us some. If I ain't the GOAT yet, guess we extinct or something. I put all the work in so we can eat for nothing. But come on, let's go. We gon' turn it up. We gon' switch this world. Come on, Smoochie's World. Jump on it, jump on it. Small Sound Boy, City with big dreams.
Outstanding, man.
Appreciate it.
Outstanding.
Appreciate it.
Quality,
And I
man. That
will I
was
will make
amazing.
one correction. That date has been changed to April the 3rd due to scheduling. But yeah, April 3rd, same lineup, same vibe. It's going to be amazing. Like I said, I'm grateful that I was able to come up with my own little Coachella lineup, and yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
So before we log out and we end the stream, are you going to have a set of your stuff ready by that time?
Yes, I will. You are going to hear 2 originals, and you're going to hear a medley that I've created on my own, where I will also be dancing and singing as well in the mix. So you get to see all aspects of Smoochie in my set. You will get to see the acting, the dancing, the singing, and the host. So that's why I wanted to create it the way that I did. So yes, you will get to see and hear all of
Absolutely, absolutely, as it should be, as it should.
that. Right.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Thank all of y'all for being out
Yeah.
here on We Be
Yeah.
Jamming. Thank you, Guy.
Yeah,
Thank
man. Yeah.
Smoochie, my guest.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
great to
Big
meet you,
Jack for the
Smoochie.
back.
It was nice meeting you too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And thank you all the people that was in the chat. Thank you for
Yep.
hanging out with us and asking
Yep.
questions. Y'all did an amazing job.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep. Yep. Shout out to everybody. Appreciate y'all. We be
Yes,
jamming.
appreciate it.